Good to see you once again. Curtis Anderson joining us. How's everything been going for you?
Going great, man. Thank you for having me.
It's good to see you. Like you and I were laughing about earlier. It's weird to think we were talking back in August. It seems like years ago already, doesn't it? That we last talked.
Yeah, fall camp seems years away for sure.
And so, since we talked to you, let's just kind of do an overview from your perspective. Obviously, we got out of the gate, a couple of tough Lone Star games. Like talked close against Commerce. Had that game was right there, and then you guys run these four straight. Just kind of talk about the mentality of this team and how you guys have been rolling.
For sure. I think coming out of the gate, per usual, we were all excited and ready to play. I think that you really get tested early when you play a team as talented as Angelo is, and then Commerce was a game that honestly came down to a couple different plays and we could have won. And then since then, I think every single game our team has gotten better. I'm yet to see a game where it feels we played the same as we did the week before. It feels like every single week our team has improved, offense, defense, and special teams. So it's very different than what we've had the past few years, and it's very exciting. And I think it's what really has a lot of people excited around here. It's not just that we're winning now a little bit. It's that it feels like it's real winning that can sustain itself, and that as long as we continue to work and stay humble and keep grinding, that we can definitely keep it going.
You have to be happy with the adversity this team's faced too. You think about some of those games where, like you and I talked in the past, go back to like Azusa Pacific. You have that game, kind of have the end of the game there get a little scary. Have to make some big plays to win that game. That could have gone either way. You have that game against even just last week, Kingsville. The defense has some big stops early to kind of get the offense rolling in the second half. What have you seen that's kind of been the changes, from years past to where these guys have been able to lock in and get those big stops?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that our team this year definitely, we were just talking last week after the game that, going out and blowing a team out by 40 or winning a game is cool, and it's football. You love winning, and anytime you can win, you love it. But when you can get punched in the mouth once, or like Kingsville, 2, maybe 3 times, and still be able to respond and still have guys chin up, ready to work, ready to move on, no one's pointing fingers, coaches aren't panicking, there's just a different level of confidence that I think comes with that, and it's almost like a different maturity that our entire team is reaching, and from top to bottom. And you're right, it's been awesome to see. I think a lot of those deficits we face sometimes, or when we get in those pinches like Azusa or like last week, they're definitely self-inflicted, which you don't like to see because you want to clean things up. But also the silver lining in that is that we're not going out and teams are just out talenting us and getting up in leads. We're doing well, and then we shoot ourselves in the foot on special teams or something, or an offsides, or a penalty, or and fortunately those are all things that are easy to fix, and we've continued to fix them, and we see that less and less every game.
How about you in the secondary? What have you been seeing back there? Let's talk about your couple of the Player of the Week honors back there. Seems like when you get interceptions, you get them in bunches. So you've had a couple games with 2 picks. How nice has it been to get those? Especially like you go back to Central Washington; those were big interceptions to help stop drives. And both times we scored points off of your interceptions at Central Washington. You go back to Kingsville; that was a big interception that kind of slowed their momentum. Seemed like you've been coming up with key interceptions when we really needed them to kind of swing momentum.
Yeah, that just trying to be in a position where. I feel like ultimately, Ferg calls our defense, and he puts his guys in positions to make plays for sure, and it just comes down to, when that ball's near you, can you make the play, or can you make the right read, or are you running to the ball? And I think so far we're all doing a really good job of that. And like you said, I've been fortunate enough to have been on the receiving end of a couple of them, but Joey had a big one, Jalen's had one. I think our defense is starting to really dive in to where now we're looking to take balls away, and that is something that, limiting the rush is important, limiting the pass is important, pressure, all of that. But when we can force fumbles and get interceptions, like you just said, that's points back for our offense, and that's immediate drive killers. So we need more and more of that every week.
And the last thing, too, in this conference, it's always difficult to play a team not just once, but you have to play them in that second part of the schedule. How hard is it to then, we went up to Central Washington. Of course, that was a big game. Like you talked about taking punches, they came back at us hard. You guys showed resolve, won that game. Now you get them here this week. How hard is it to kind of turn around and play a team again? And then we just saw them a few weeks ago.
Yeah, absolutely. They say definitely the best. They say one of the hardest things to do is to win against a good team twice. And I feel like that is something that it's made difficult because, now you've both seen each other. You've got film with each other's defenses. Everything can be dialed. They can kind of fix the things they messed up on. But I think that only really affects you, and you fall into that trap if you stop working, if your coaches stop working. And I know our offense has been showing us, still new stuff and still evolving. And, our defense, we're definitely still working and still working out kinks and even incorporating new things and guys who are stepping into roles. So I think that for us, we haven't really, we're not as concerned about playing these teams now in the back half of the season, because we know that just like we will be with them, they're going to be seeing a new team each and every week and a better team from us each and every week.
All right, Curtis. We really appreciate your insight once again. It's good to see you.
Of course.
And again, we'll catch up with you here soon.
Thank you for having me.